Welcome to the Penny Bloom Podcast. Ain't another place that has got more bombast. Romp past your mom, dad's listening to Tomcats. Talking everything that make you sad. We don't want that. We're here to make you smile. Put your mind at ease. Peace, love, and bloom, and always praise Keanu Reeves. This what we about. This some weeding now. We'll talk until we can't no more, and then we peacing out. Alright, let's go. Penny Bloom Podcast. It's the Penny Bloom Podcast. Penny Bloom Podcast. It's the Penny Bloom Podcast. Penny Bloom Podcast. Penny Bloom Podcast. Hello, everybody, and welcome in to another episode of the Penny Bloom Podcast. It is May. Officially. We've done 4 months of this shit. Our 52-year journey through film. And we're here in the year 1988, where we are discussing anime film My Neighbor Totoro. And I am Colton Robertson, joined, of course, by Joseph George. What's up, homie?
What up, what up? Thanks for having me. Happy late. May the 4th be with you.
Yes, of course. I'm sure we did something big for that, as we are wont to do. But yeah, so go check that out. Our May the 4th Spectacular, like part 3. I am also joined again for like the third time on our 52-year journey through film. Tavarus Pennington. What's up, homie?
How's it going? You know.
I'm doing good. You've been with us for a few really fun movies to talk about.
Yeah.
We started with The Breakfast Club, which is just a classic. You were with us last week to talk Spaceballs, and we couldn't have gone pretty much more opposite this week with My Neighbor Totoro.
Yeah, but opposite but obscure in a similar-ish way. You know, those are both, I think, wild cards compared to our normal choices. They
certainly are, and frankly, after these last couple weeks, I just want to keep going off in our random directions now, because these have been, I mean, they're not more fun to talk about, but they're arguably more fun to watch. But I don't know. Next week we're doing Dead Poets Society, so we'll be right back in the fucking thick of it. Tears running down our faces and shit. It'll be all cool. But god damn, I'd never watched this movie. Let me lay the groundwork for the people real quick. Let me get all the information that I'm usually spitting, lacking right now. But My Neighbor Totoro, released on July 13th. Oh wait, hold on. Released in Hong Kong July 15th, 1988, and in Japan April 16th, 1988. And so just not too far off from this here date in May, but written and directed by Hayao Miyazaki, who was the founder of Studio Ghibli and went on to create many classics in the anime genre, with like Spirited Away and plenty of others. But this one was there was just something about it, the peacefulness of it, the quaintness of it, if you will, that really drew me in.
Yeah, that was kind of the main thing I noticed about the way that the movie was directed, I guess, was the long periods of silence. Silence, like it wasn't really silence. Things were happening. There was no words. So you're just kind of watching. You're on this mental journey.
It's really just artful, like it was like, we're drawing art for you here, and we want you to look at it, because the visuals in this were fucking beautiful. I really enjoyed it.
Damn, I just was looking at the IMDb page, and the director of this, like, it's actually kind of based on his life. His mother was suffered with spinal tuberculosis and was in the hospital and like stuff like that. That makes this just way more sad.
Well, and there's also the fact that, like, I read something like that too, and you can tell this is something of a period piece. It doesn't feel so much like it takes place in the 80s. And the idea is that it takes place in sort of the 50s when Miyazaki would have been a kid. And because you see like the telephone that looks like it's fucking forever years old, and there's no like paved roads, like it's just this is a time of it wasn't nearly as developed, and it's set in like this post-war for Japan, like fresh off of World War II. So it's like it's
still
kind
pumping
of
to get your water,
right. It's kind of an homage to like the beauty of Japan before it was, like became very industrialized. And, their environment was destroyed.
Yeah, no, I think that's a really good strength of this movie too, and how it feels like the world it's like a almost like a communist place. Like it's like everyone is kind of just like working together in a community. The kids are just running around with tasks seemingly as important as the adults.
Right.
Like that's a funny thing to me about it. Like the adults were just kind of just doing their thing, but they weren't really concerned about what the kids' daily life looked like. Like they were just kind of like, we'll feed you. Other than that, go to work, go do your business, whatever. Like
the craziest thing to me, like this is like objectively a children's movie, but like it's not it's not just for children. There's a lot of stuff here that I think only adults will get out of the movie.
Oh,
like I can't imagine a child sitting through this movie and not getting bored. However, it kept me the entire time. Like for a small child, this is probably a hard one to just sit down and watch. And like at the end when they're looking for May, like a kid's not going to grasp that fear the way that we grasp that fear. Like,
right.
Oh fuck, where, like the fact that they leave her off screen for so long, and it's like, and a kid watching will just be like, oh damn, they better find May. But we're like, I was actually fucking nervous. Like they found the fucking sandal in the water, and I was like, oh my god.
Yeah, I know.
Turn.
Yeah, this movie was very hard to guess where it was going next. Whenever you thought you knew what was going to happen, something wild, Totoro would just pop up, or Cat Bus would come in, open its door with that weird noise, that it made. Cat Bus kind of clutch though.
Cat Bus is huge. Love Cat Bus.
Yeah, Cat Bus kind of clutch. Weird Cat at first. I didn't really trust Cat Bus right off rip. Don't know why.
It's the vibe that, like, there was a lot of stuff here that reminded me of like Alice in Wonderland. And that was one of the things that reminded me of the fucking cat whose eyes you could only see, and the big ass smile that it had. I can't remember its fucking name, but I remember when I was a kid that scared the shit out of me. So whenever this popped up on screen, I was a little bit like, whomst might you be?
It's just Cat Bus. Just this graceful, like whenever it jumped off those power lines and like landed right next to May, just like did this like swan dive, with all of its like 8 legs, just like spread or whatever. Like, I don't know. It was just insane. Like this movie, like,
incredibly creative.
It was just like thinking you knew what was going to happen next. And then that Cat Bus shows up, and then Totoro sprouts this gigantic tree out of the ground, and then gets a top out of his pocket, spins it, jumps on it, everyone jumps on him, and they fly. It's like woo, like just this dreamscape, that's like, I don't know, it was just awesome to watch.
And it's really interesting because you can kind of tell that it's like, it feels like these creatures exist. Like, but there's also this weird thing where it might just be the imaginations of these children. And I don't think it's that. I think we're set in a fantastical world where, this shit is actually happening. But I think there's something there about like how it's more about the children's imagination. And I love that the parents in this movie are not like your parents in a typical children's movie who would typically go, no, you didn't see shit. shut your fucking mouth and mind your business. Their dad was just like, hell yeah, it might have been a spirit of the forest, man. Go find it.
That's a great thing I find about like Japanese animation is that the way that they think about lore is way different than us. It's almost as if like when we in Western shows when we discover lore, it is quite literally a discovery. Like it is something that was like attempted to be concealed by someone and then picked up by the main character. In this situation, it's just lore that had to be passed down from the parents. They're just like, oh yeah, this thing, yeah, this exists. This is normal. It's just this is the whole thing.
Even like the dad was like, let's go greet them. Let's give them a proper greeting. And he took them to the tree and like did like the little ritual of like talking to him and bowing to him and stuff. Like
right.
It was I don't know. It's way more fun, even like as a parent, you have your kid come to you and say these things, it's way more fun to be like, oh yeah, totally. Like, yeah, let's go check it out instead of being like, yeah, that's not real. Like just shutting down a kid's imagination, like has to be like one of the biggest just piece of shit moves you can make. Like you only like have your imagination like when you're young, and it kind of sucks that like it's not adult to have an imagination, because like that shit was awesome. We could have a box, and have the time of our lives, like with a box, like when we were 2. But like now we have to like be stimulated in every possible way, like, but
I'm just trying to feel something.
Yeah, like this was just like a beautiful, like, I don't know, like there's so many things to like get out of this movie. Like, yeah, like
outside.
Like love your inner child, like just like grasp that and like let your imagination just be free. But like I also got like the connection to nature like with this movie, like how like they will only show themselves like if they want to be shown, like you have to like be looking with good intentions, like basically like stuff like that. Like I don't know, this movie like as a kids movie like had some very very adult themes and stuff that kids definitely weren't grabbing onto, like while they're watching this movie.
Oh, no way.
Like they just see big Totoro and they're like, oh,
cute.
Oh my God, I want to give him a hug, like,
I want to be so fluffy, I'm gonna die.
That umbrella's so small for him. Like, no way. It's like obviously like
how about the poster being neither one of the 2 girls? It's not Mei and it's not Satsuki. Apparently, the original incantation of this book was, or this movie was that there was only one girl.
Really?
And this is who that character was, but it became inconceivable of such a small child to go be able to do all of this on her own, so they needed to give her an older sister. And the interesting thing is that Satsuki means the month May in Japanese, and May is the other character's name.
That's so cool.
And May,
I think that's just kind of like, yeah, they were once like conceived as the same person, and we're just kind of playing that game with you, which I thought was interesting.
Yeah, I think that's really effective for the way that the story communicates itself too, because I think, as we've pointed out, like it can appeal to younger and older audiences, and it does that by using Mei and Satsuki in to represent each of the roles. Because Satsuki, at a point, you can just be like, what is it about Satsuki that makes her a child? Not much. Like at this point, like she may as well just be the guardian of Mei. Like the father, he's a good dude, I guess, but he's out there writing and teaching or whatever the fuck.
Yeah, honestly, she's doing more than the dad. Like she's like taking the umbrella to the bus stop, like making Mei lunch, getting her like ready for school and like everything. Like when the dad's waking up late, sleeping in again, whatever he said, like, yeah, she's always the one who's on it, and like actually keeping everyone like in line and stuff.
And I like that they made a point to like kind of express that because their mother is sick, and like their mother even says at the end of the movie, like she's always been so adult, like she's never been she's never had a chance to be a kid in the recent years, so like she's just been expressing herself in a very mature way, which is I mean, you see it whenever she tries to. You finally see her like kind of childish side whenever she, shoves her feelings down and yells at May for, whenever she ran off to be with Granny, and then she cried in her arms, and May saw it, and she was like, "You know what? Fine, I'm gonna take this corn to my ma." Like, but it was also like a lot of adults do that shit. They shove their feelings down and then they throw it in someone else's face.
Yeah, no, I think that is this says a lot about, like, this probably says more than most adults even can understand about emotional resonance with the child too. Like, because it's like, even though May was quite young and portrayed to be this sort of avenue to children, she's still not dumb. Like, she's not by any means like portrayed as dumb. Like, she's very aware of her sort of situation. And that's like that adds, like, because I was thinking about, if this is of course a happy movie, it's a children's movie.
Very feel good.
But why does it feel sad? And it feels sad because you're realizing that this young child is dealing with such, like, emotionally difficult things.
It's true, but like I think that's like there's something to be said about like how they're they're not treating them like kids. Like they're being straight up with them. They're telling them what's happening and keeping them in the loop. They're not hiding things from them, and in that they have the ability to grow up, facing these things and not afraid of them. Like they're fully aware of the things that can happen, and death is always around the corner, like this whole movie, because their mother's sick, and then whenever May goes off on her own, she doesn't realize her own danger. She only sees her mother's danger, which I thought that was effective and cute.
Yeah.
Very cute. Yeah, the whole time. It's very wholesome. Like, like cute little moments, like when they're in the bath together and the dad's just like, let's just laugh and they'll all go away. And then like legitimately they just start floating back into the tree. It's like when it's like, it's kind of like the home is full of like love and laughter. So like these things are just leaving, and it's like, oh my, that's so cute.
The granny says it too. She's like they're trying to see if you're good people, and if you're happy, and if you are, they'll leave. And like they sit there and they laugh together, and they're like, all right, we're out this bitch then. And I was like, originally when they first popped up, I was like, what am I about to watch?
Yeah. So I was looking up some stuff about it too, and so Totoro, or like the animals that appear, the creatures, they're meant to represent trolls. Totoro is is a Japanese word for troll, which I thought was also interesting too, because that means that to them, I didn't really think of what these represents so too much. Like, I didn't think.
Yeah, it's like a bunny meets an owl meets a dog.
But like to them, they're hearing, when they hear Totoro, they're hearing something like, oh, this thing that people don't want to go near. You know what I mean? That's endearing.
Oh, and I love the like childlike innocence of May whenever, like, if an adult slides down that tube and lands on Totoro's stomach, they're yelling, they're screaming, and they're running away. But May, being a 4-year-old, cuddles up and asks him what's his name. And I think that that speaks to the innocence of the child and the beauty of it. Like, it's like the beauty of youth, just being perfectly young and innocent and not afraid.
Yeah.
Man, yeah, I don't know. Like, imagine if this movie like was like live action, like, because there's always a reason to have like a movie be animated, right? Like, because there's no way they could have done some of these things like in live action, like Cat Bus and Totoro, and like like the tree sprouting, like, so, obviously like this works way better in animation, and like
especially at the time.
Yeah, and like it's just beautiful animation. Like, it's like, was this the meme where it's like, this is a butterfly, and it's like the guy that's like, the dad looked exactly like that meme, and I thought that it was gonna pop up in the movie, but it never did.
I'm gonna be. I think I'd be fair to assume that that's also like a Studio Ghibli product somewhere. Written and directed by the same guy, Hayao Miyazaki, because
man, that dad looked exactly like that meme. Like different hair, but like the face was on. But
yeah, I'm not sure what that might be from, but it's funny. There's someone out there who's an anime fan who's like, I know exactly what that's from.
How do you not know anime? Blah 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 blah. Like, let's see.
No, and that's what's interesting too is I'm not a big anime guy. You know, I've watched a couple anime series. I've watched Death Note and Neo Yokio, Jaden Smith's anime, and I've watched Star Wars Visions, but I've never made the full leap. I've watched a few episodes of Attack on Titan and stuff, and watching this, I realized the movies is how I make that happen. I got to watch the movies, not the shows, to get fully invested in it.
The meme is from the Brave Fighter of Sun Firebird, by the way. So very obscure or maybe not obscure anime. Sorry,
but the title sounds obscure.
But yeah,
I would say I've been kind of wanting to get into like anime movies because like I haven't watched too much anime recently, but anime movies I've only seen like a few of. I just know like if you watch anime movies of like series and shit, like that shit's trash. Like
yeah. No, I'd stick to the ones where like I didn't have to know any lore. I'd just watch.
There's corny anime, and then there's anime where it's like really good, where they use that like corniness and over exaggeration to like its benefit, like Death Note, Attack on Titan, like the big animes that you hear of them because they are like just legitimately good like shows, like and the story is just that good, where like you don't even realize it's like anime while you're watching it. It's like you're just so in the world that like it's so good. And like this is like kind of the same. Like it's so like that's why like I think a lot of people love anime and they stick to watching anime like only is because you really feel like you're in the world whenever you're watching whatever you're watching, you know, like when we're watching this movie, like I was in, you know, I kind of felt like I was in this world, you know, I really wasn't taken out of this movie at all. Like I didn't check my phone much, you know, I didn't like look away. I was like really invested like into this world and stuff like that. And that's,
and especially coming off of watching Spaceballs, like I'm like, man, that hour and a half went by way quicker.
Oh yeah,
for sure. Spaceballs hour and a half, but it's because it had a compelling story to tell. Like there was something about the fantasticalness of this world that kept you wanting to know how the story was going to get resolved.
And that's what's interesting too, is that like along with like it kept subverting expectations, especially for a children's movie. You know, typically in a children's movie, you get a lot of flashes and like big moments where it's like early on anyway. But you don't meet Totoro until a third of the way through this movie. It's not until over 30 minutes in that you meet Totoro. So you don't really get the fantastical nature of this besides the smut things. Can't remember what. Gremlins, smut gremlins.
Well, yeah, whatever. Yeah. I think they called them that, but then they were actually something else. Like when the granny came in and said like the actual name of what they were. But yeah, what a weird, like they didn't really amount to really be anything, you know? Like it was just
it was just kind of easing you into the fantasticalness of this world, I think.
They showed up later around the end when Satsuki was going to get Totoro's help to find Mei. They like revealed the path for her or something. So I mean,
they all opened their eyes too for the first time, which was weird.
Yeah, and so I mean that was kind of like I thought that was meant as sort of a smaller metaphor at the beginning of the movie to kind of foreshadow Totoro, the dust mites.
Gotcha.
Dust mites, smut
dust mites.
they
yeah. What was that?
No, go ahead.
I was just gonna say that I really, really enjoyed that. Like, there's not conflict between the characters, not until like the last 15, 20 minutes. Like there's like nothing where you're like, wow, we need to resolve this. It's just events unfolding before you, but they're done in such a satisfying way to look at, and just really good characterization. You know, like I cared about these characters really quickly.
Mm-hmm.
They did a really effective job with that.
I mean, that's basically like until May is lost, like the whole movie is just getting you to care about them. Like basically, you know, like you really care about them whenever May is lost, you know, and it like actually makes her being lost feel way more impactful than if it were just to happen at the very beginning of the movie. And I don't know. Yeah, this movie was just beautiful. Like the soundtrack was beautiful. You know, like,
oh my goodness. As soon as they were like, I think it was when the cat bus showed up the first time, the music that played during that part, I was like, oh yeah, okay.
Yeah, a lot of the parts of the movies where there wasn't any dialogue and just something like was happening, and they were just like it, like you were just taken through this experience, and the song in the background was just this like twinkly kind of Disney-esque, you know, like very feel good song, you know, like I don't know, it was just beautiful.
I'd never watched this movie before, and it made me feel nostalgic. It reminded me of watching like I mean, like I was real young when I watched this, but it had Winnie the Pooh vibes out the ass, so that made me nostalgic as fuck. And it reminded me of all the Disney animated shit we watched when we were little, you know, like the Little Mermaid and shit like that. Like that was kind of the vibes I got out of this. But they were like, we're gonna make it even weirder.
See, and another beautiful part I feel like about this is they did not make it a franchise. It's just a movie. It's just the movie. But like, if this were America, they would have been like, so when's the sequel? They'd be like, we gotta have a sequel. You know how much money we made on that? We gotta have a sequel.
Right.
Yeah, with Winnie the Pooh being public domain as well. Real quick, he's also one of our mascots now. Just to add him on the team, he's public domain. We can just take him now.
Yeah.
Wait, really?
But,
official Penny Bloom
public
logo.
domain. You can't use the like that depiction that Disney has of Winnie the Pooh. That's still under copyright, but you can use the character of Winnie the Pooh. But yeah, I mean, Totoro
more on
was
that on patreon.com/CoroBloom on the episode titled Winnie the Pooh is public domain.
But Totoro was like just this big, fluffy, huggable dude, you know? Just this magical guy that was just clutch in every scenario. Yeah, like dude made their what's it called? Their seed sprout, you know, for the first time. Yes. Helped find May, you know, just called Cat Bus.
He was like, you know, I got just the guy.
Yeah. Totoro was like, he was the guy to go to. You know, he was clutch.
And I also thought it was cool that like Satsuki like kind of exhausted her options before going to Totoro. Like she just kind of like, she was like, fuck, I have to go to him for this.
Totoro should have been like, why didn't you come to me first, huh? Am I not good enough for you?
You never want to, you didn't want to be in debt to me.
Is that what it is? I understand.
No, but yeah, Totoro was he was a G. And I like that, you know, because there are a few examples of this type of character that work really well, where they don't really say shit, but they're just really cool and really fun to be around. Reminded me of Chewbacca. Like, you don't understand what Chewbacca's saying, but you fucking love having Chewbacca around. You know what I'm saying? I'd love to have Totoro around. I mean, he's a little cuter than Chewbacca for my money, but I don't know. Live action Totoro might be a little bit more horrifying.
It's like a Furby, basically. Yeah, you know, and Furbies are kind of creepy. It's it's kind of weird that we play with Furbies. They were really some ugly looking toys and
I never
creepy-looking
touched a
things.
fucking Furby, bro.
Yeah, I'm envious.
The fuck is a Furby?
Oh, thank
Oh,
you.
you have it the best.
I am so envious of you. Oh my god,
We got every step of the Furby ladder.
Wow.
He had a Furby and played with it. I knew what Furbies was.
No, my
and stayed
sister
the
just
fuck-
had them. And
fuck that.
they terrorized me, man. Those things are freaking terrifying. If you don't know what they are, just stay that way. It's better that you don't know.
I mean, they ain't that bad.
They're not. Yeah, they're not that. As a child, though.
Oh yeah,
Holy
those were
fuck.
freaky.
Yeah,
Oh.
put
We
yourself
went ahead and looked into Furbies.
put yourself in the
Fucking hell.
child shoes. Yeah, whenever you're looking at that monstrosity of a creature.
Why does it have a unibrow?
I don't. There's so many questions.
So
They
So
talk
many
too.
questions
Some
could
of
be
them talk.
They talk?
Yeah, and they move their eyes and like their beak thing. Yeah.
Were they at least not like pelting you with these? Were they like just like leaving them in odd places?
Yeah, they just stare at you, and that's enough. That's enough. Like a dark corner where one's just sitting there, just looking in a direction, and you're like,
The Furby's eyes look like all variations of a high of some very strong drug.
oh,
Like,
ketamine. Probably all of them were on, I'd assume. Yeah, they're very. Totoro was. I'd much rather than be animated.
Totoro
Like
just
Totoro.
looked high. That's it. Like that was his. That
Dude was
his
just
thing.
chilling.
Like
He's just
Totoro was
sleeping.
off shrooms the whole time.
Just sleep until he was needed. Like.
And Joe, you talked about the connection to nature that this movie kind of provides. I think that there was something cool about the fact that, like, when you see Cat Bus run past the farmers, they don't see Cat Bus, but they feel the wind.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, like, whenever Totoro gets out the top and he spins it, and they're like, "We are the wind." Like, I think that's just like what it looks like. There's some sort of connection to nature where they're like, "Yeah, we run the wind, bitch.
Mm-hmm.
This is us."
It's like Mother Nature, straight up. Like,
Mm-hmm.
like I just like to think that there's just big trees all around, and there's just Totoros all around. They just have their own area that they control, like the stuff of and grow everything. Like
Five families of Totoro.
I'd love to think that Totoro just goes out at night and just goes to crops and then just does that dance, like the boom, the sprout dance, just to get plants to grow. Like I hope there's just Totoros around the whole world just doing that, and that's how all of our plants grow.
I loved the scene where they were sitting with the umbrellas, right? And Totoro hears the water droplet hit his umbrella, and he's like, "Oh." Then he hears it again, and he's like, "Oh, I like that."
Serotonin, dopamine.
Hulk smashed that shit and just got like more rain than they've ever experienced on top of them.
Yeah, sent a 4 on the Richter scale of an earthquake in the surrounding area. Like dude really sent that. Like, but had to be satisfying though. Like.
Ooh.
Yeah, I know. What a strange part to include. Like, it didn't really mean any. Like, it was just there,
But
like,
that was kind of something we were talking about in the Patreon, though. It was just appreciating a small thing that happens, but it, like, being under an umbrella and hearing the rain hit the umbrella is really satisfying, and we probably don't appreciate that enough.
It's true. These little simple things. That's what. Yeah. Like simple things, that's what it is. Like your imagination too. You had the most simple of things that you could turn into anything you could ever imagine. A stick could be a sword or a lightsaber or anything. Like a box could be a rocket ship. It could be a whole lab. Anything, with your imagination and with nature. Like it's those same like little things. There's all these little tiny beautiful things that if you just pay attention to, like you every day you can walk past them and not notice them, but if you just slow down for a little bit and pay attention, like it's like just beautiful and peaceful.
It's really a testament to just sort of the concept to me of working with nature, not um, like
Exploiting
working
it.
along with nature, not sort of above it or around it. It's not a matter of like that's kind of the thing that's the turning point for the whole film, right? Is when Satsuki realizes that the humans have no tools that can help them, or no ability to find May right now, and so the natural answer is to go ask for the spirit of nature's ability to help, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And like the granny, like saying that her vegetables always make people feel better, just makes me want to believe that she's so in touch with nature that Totoro like puts like some magic in the vegetables, that makes people heal or something like that. Like the more connected you are, the healthier your vegetables are, and like the healthier you'll be. And like, I don't know, like just what a beautiful movie, like the more you think about it, it's like just like so
And
heartwarming. Like
I absolutely I love a movie with no antagonist.
mm.
There wasn't anybody in this movie I didn't fuck with on some level. It was just like, damn.
Like
Yeah,
I thought, like I was like, is the dad gonna be like, is he gonna turn in some? And then it's like, no, nothing bad ever really happened, other than May just being lost. Like,
no, it's nice. It's a nice reprieve to have one of those kind of films. I haven't watched something. I mean, Spaceballs had an antagonist.
Everybody in that movie is a fucking antagonist, bro. Mel Brooks is an antagonist in real life for making it.
I gotta know what this guy looks like now. I gotta
Yeah.
know what Mel Brooks looks like. Because I'm only thinking of Mel Gibson because I'm only think every time Mel Brooks is brought up, I only think Mel Gibson's face. Oh, okay. That is not. Yeah, that's very different.
He was in the movie.
Wait,
He was President Scrooge and Yogurt.
no way. Okay. Wait, he was Willy Wonka, or did he direct? Why is this showing up with? Anyway, what a weird sidetrack with Mel Brooks.
Yeah, you got to give Spaceballs credit. It sticks with you.
Yeah, man. Yeah, just can't get away from it. Maybe I got to get that merch.
It's a standard, It's like it's something you measure everything else based off of. Is it better or worse than Spaceballs?
I'm pretty comfortable saying that this movie was better than Spaceballs.
If it's better than Spaceballs, it was at the very least bad.
Fair enough.
Because Spaceballs is god fucking awful.
The 2.17,
Spaceballs
it's an all-time low.
That is an all-time low. I don't feel like this one will have the same fate. I think.
No, I think this will go really well. As far as our rating system goes. But yeah, are we ready for that? Is that like I don't know how much more I have to say about the movie. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
It was solid. It was solid.
It was just pretty straightforward. It overall was like it was a children's movie after all, rated G. Like
I was afraid. I will say that the grandmother was gonna die in like a turn of the tables or something when they were running after they resolved the thing with the mother and they were going back. I was like, that would have really been a punch to the chest, wouldn't it?
They went back and Granny had died. Damn, that would have been rough. I'm glad it didn't happen.
There's like something that was like a theory that May there's a theory I saw that said that May was a ghost, and like there was a part where you couldn't see her shadow or something, and then there is but
I got that vibe that like they were the ones that were dead. The boy that shared like the umbrella like really just left his umbrella there for like nobody, like it was truly just a ghost. And like I don't like, it was weird. Like I was thinking that like through the movie that they were the ones that were dead and they could see like the like spirits of like Totoro and all them and stuff like that. And then I was like, this is a kid's movie. Not,
and Hayao Miyazaki came out and said, no, that's
That's not right. But I was like, man, I can kind of retroactively get those vibes, but that was nowhere near my brain when I was watching it the first time.
Yeah.
Because that was the thing, is I felt like they so perfectly portrayed youth. Portrayed youth. I said portrayed. Portrayed youth. Like the way they expressed, specifically May, the way May expressed her emotions was, I've met that child. You know,
like even right.
That is.
Right at the beginning of the movie where like they're seeing the house for the first time and that one post is like all rotten out, you know, like it's totally just a kid thing to laugh at that and be like, it's collapsing. It's, you know, like it's your new house and like, it's, you know, all beaten up and like looking bad. And you're like, yeah, this is, you know, like,
and let's talk about this architecture. I fuck with this house. Why do we not have more floor plans and homes like this in the West?
Things in my Japanese apartment that just make sense. That TikTok, you know, like we need that everywhere. Like we need homes like this everywhere.
Can you imagine how comfortable their floors have to be if they're just sleeping on them? Who would have thought? Just turn the floor into the mattress. Don't buy mattresses. Those shits are like $800.
Yeah, man. Like Japanese culture, like they're like tables, you know, like it's just little cushions that they sit on the floor, and their tables are like very low, like your knee, like sitting on your knees, basically, like at your table. Like everything is done like very low to the floor, and like I love like you take your shoes off in the house, you know, like and like you leave them in the one like very specific place. Like Japanese culture is just so cool, like so just respectful. That's like one, if I could categorize their culture in one word, I would say like, it's very respectful, and that's what it's based off of, like respect. But this movie, like I love anything Japanese, and this movie was like just just such a feel good movie to watch.
And you know, like you said, built on respect. This entire movie, like everybody, like there was no disrespect anywhere. Like everyone was just like, you know what? Yeah, you probably did see a spirit of the forest. Like, yeah, that is a thing that probably happened, and that's really cool.
Oh, May's lost. We got to get everyone on this right now.
Everybody's got to be
like,
in
you can use
everybody in town on it.
Yeah, just what a feel good movie.
Oh, I was like, I kind of teared up at the end. I was like, oh, like this ended up sweet. I love this shit. But yeah, man, I don't have much else to say.
I think
thinks we ready for the ratings?
I think we're ready. Yeah,
I think so.
Enjoyment level out of 5 stars. I'll explain the rating system for everyone new here. If you're new here for the first time, we have three scales of 5 stars. We go out of 5 stars based on our enjoyment of the movie. Out of 5 stars, how well it fulfilled its genre, and out of 5 stars, just overall as a film critically, how was it out of 5 stars? And then we take that amalgamation, we put it together. It's a performative little algorithm, and it becomes our overall rating for the film. Mm-hmm. And we will do that here again, starting with our enjoyment rating of the film. I'm very high on this.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. This is like I'll definitely watch this again, like for sure. You know, just like
100%.
Like if I need a movie just to put on, just to have a feel good night, like yeah, for sure. Like I'm coming back. At least a 4.5 for me. Like at least
I'm right there with you.
I mean, I'm comfortable putting it up in like 4.8, 4.9 up there. Like, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I don't know what I really hated about it. Actually, now that I think about it, you know,
you didn't hate anything about it. I didn't anyway.
I don't know. What do you guys?
Tavarus, how you feeling about it out of 5 stars on an enjoyment level?
You know, I'm probably around a 4 point. I was thinking 4.7, 4.8. You know.
Okay, cool. I'm glad we're all very high on this movie. I was thinking 4.75 was probably right about where I wanted to sit, and I think I'm comfortable with that. Is this be agreeable? What are some close ones in enjoyment there if we put this at a 4.75?
The Breakfast Club was a 4.75. Aliens was a 4.8. The Terminator was a 4.8. And then another 4.75 was The Godfather Part 2. So in pretty good company, if it's a 4.75, and I feel like that's about right.
That sounds about right for me.
So yeah.
But with
honestly,
Terminator and Aliens.
I could put this above those.
I know. That's what I was about. That's what I was going to say.
like that.
Is off
I think-
enjoyment, you know.
Yeah, like I think I go 4.85 with this. And I think I'd be fine declaring that.
I dig it. I'm even comfortable going 4.9 here. You know, giving it the full, you know.
What's up there in the 5s and 4.9s? Because I know we got a couple. We got Star Wars, Raiders of the Lost Ark,
Godfather 1, 5,
Yeah.
Jaws 5, Star Wars 5, Raiders 5. And then again, the Terminator and Aliens 4.8 are the next highest after that.
Ooh, okay. You know what? Let's do it. Let's throw it above Terminator and Aliens. I think it's a 4.85 in enjoyment there.
Bam. It's in there.
There you go.
Does that make it a top 5?
It does make it a top 5. Let's see.
Damn.
1,
That's crazy.
2, 3, 4, 5. It is the 5th. Yeah.
That's huge. That's a huge addition this week.
As a genre.
As it fulfilled the genre. Yes, a children's.
It's got to be 5 out of 5.
It's got to be a 5 out of 5. Yeah. Oh god damn.
I mean, come on. And that was a film. Story was beautiful. Made you care about each character.
It was simple, like I think it says in the description of on HBO Max, deceptively simple. Like it's like there's a lot to glean from this just on surface, but if you just think about it, there's a lot more there.
Yeah.
And
that's a big value.
I'm like, I'm high up there again. Like 4.75, 4.8.
This was very beautifully made.
4.9 even. I'd be comfortable.
Like this is like a beautiful movie. Like I'm down like 4.75 as the floor. You know. Like that's
Tav,
the
how
lowest.
you feeling down there?
Wait, which category is this?
Just overall. Like
as a film. Critically.
As a film, the story, the way it was written, all of it together.
I think, like 4 point right in the middle, I guess, of the other two. So that'll be a 4.9, I guess. 4.9, 4.95.
I'm comfortable with a 4.9. I think it's up there.
I just think it doesn't try to do more than it needs to. It does exactly what it should, and it's not over eager. It's not underwhelming. It is just right.
It just does just does its thing.
There's something about it that is just right.
Okay.
So where are we shaking? Because this ended up being like one of the highest rated movies we've watched so far.
It's crazy how this system works out sometimes, man. Let me just say. Comes out to a 4.92 for the movie overall. And that puts it 0.01 behind Raiders of the Lost Ark and The Godfather Part 1. Puts it 0.01. They're a 4.93. Again, My Neighbor Totoro was a 4.92.
That's perfect. That's exactly where I wanted it.
And let's see where it is above.
Like this better not come out above Raiders and Godfather.
It's above Jaws. Jaws was a 4.83. Again, with Godfather Part 2 was a 4.83, so it is above that. Let's see. Above Aliens was a 4.7. So yeah. This is it's up there.
It's a great start for the month of May.
Yeah. A 5, we have 5. A Star Wars is 5. So that's our 1. 2 and 3 or tied for second would be Godfather 1 and just Godfather 1. Oh, and Raiders. And then fourth Yeah, 4th place is My Neighbor Totoro now. So
God damn.
That sounds
that's
about
crazy.
right.
Yeah, that's a new top five. That's a new top fiver overall. I didn't anticipate that of this movie, but alas, here we are. Especially coming off of a last week our all-time shitter. That'll be the lowest we ever get, and we got a new top 5 the next week. And you know what? Looking at the rest of this month, this is it. This is the one. I don't know that another month will be quite as close to it. Like, I mean, Star Wars came in what, March?
Yeah. No, February.
If Star Wars came in February and it was a 5 out of 5, it might be tough. But I think Taxi Driver also came in February.
It did. Mm-hmm.
And I don't think we have one of those this month.
No. Dead Poet Society, Goodfellas, and Boys in the Hood. So
God damn.
This
It's going to go pretty well this month.
could be a very strong month for sure.
Yeah.
The only other month I see competing with it would be
Next month?
June. Yeah. June is looking pretty strong.
June, we might have a pretty big week
Yeah.
at one point. If we
So hard to see how that weighs into the, we'll get,
maybe we just we take the amalgamation score, like overall of that week. And it's
yeah, we'll get there though.
94 was a big year for movies.
It's a pretty big year, a very big year.
But yeah, My Neighbor Totoro ends up at a 4.92 out of 5 stars on our Penny Bloom official rating scale.
I'm starting to think that the scale, there may be something to it, because
I was like, as soon as we started getting rolling with it, I was like, this thing is fucking perfect.
We've done a number of scales, and at some point they all cause some questions and maybe regrets. But this one I feel like is holding up,
pretty reliable,
pretty deep into it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I have the whole Excel sheet. If anyone, would like for the research purposes on how great this grading scale is. Maybe if the Oscars would like to adapt it, we'll take a small cut. It's okay.
Of course,
cut the check.
Yeah, just it's all right. Or IMDb, talk to us on the side, send us a DM. Colton will tell you more in the outro there how to do that.
That's right.
So,
but yeah, My Neighbor Totoro ended up being one of the best we've watched so far on our 52-year journey through film, and this was our 19th movie, I believe, if I'm not mistaken.
You're correct.
And next week we'll be wrapped up with the 80s, with 1989's Dead Poets Society, and then after the 80s, we're going to do another one of our great Penny Bloom Film Awards with covering the 80s there, with our own personal categories, including Best Actor, Director, Actress, stuff like that, all the way down the list. And the only nominations available are from the movies we watched from the 80s, which makes it nice and fun. And I can't wait for that. And after Dead Poets Society, that'll be coming. But yeah, I was Colton Robertson, joined, of course, by Joseph George. Thank you very much, homie.
Thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure.
Oh, it's always a pleasure to have you. And, of course, again, joining us on the 52-year journey through film, Tavarus Pennington. Thank you very much, homie.
It's been a pleasure.
Oh, it was a pleasure to have you. And if you would, head to patreon.com/CoroBloom, where you'll find well over 21 hours of exclusive content at this point. And actually, just before this episode, me and Joe went on a nice little run where we discussed a lot of fast food stuff, and then we ended up discussing the climate crisis, as our conversations usually devolve into.
As you do, from
but
fries to
that'll be that episode will be titled "Nobody Needs That Much Sour Cream," and it will be from a couple months back. So go and find it. We've got a whole bunch of content since then too, so go ahead and check it out. Also follow on Twitter at PennyBloomPod, where I will keep this updated list going of what movies we're watching. And next week's is 1989's Dead Poets Society. But if that were to change, it won't. But if it were, you would find out on Twitter. And you can be sure to watch whatever movie we're watching that week. Follow on Instagram at PennyBloomPodcast. And remember, peace, love, and bloom. And we are the wind.